Hi guys, my name is Tega and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first vlog post and I hope you like it. Please show me some love, subscribe to this channel and like it if you like this video, and if you have any comments or any corrections to make, since this is the first time, but please don't be too hard on me. I would welcome every kind of comment and criticism and additions, because I'm going to be talking about majorly weddings and wedding planning. Okay, you're most definitely welcome, and please like and subscribe. Thank you. So I have been planning weddings for about 3 years now, so I thought I should share the little knowledge that I have. Most of what I'll talk about is going to be my personal opinion or not personal experiences, because I haven't gotten married yet, but I've planned a few weddings, so I'm planning to use the experience I got from planning those weddings. I'm not a big time wedding planner, let me not, but I believe that there are one or two things that I've used that I can help everyone with. So weddings are expensive, that's the simple truth. A lot of people, they want to get married in a beautiful hall or outdoor. They want a venue that is breathtaking. They want all the decor to be, astonishing, fantastic dress. They want a big party. They want all the fireworks and all. When two people get engaged and they're planning marriage, most times what I've noticed, it's not always about, oh, I'm marrying my best friend, or yeah, that too. But I feel like what we seem to be, crazy about is how will the wedding look like. They want all the fanfare, all the drama. We see a lot of things on blogs, we see a lot of things on social media, we see a lot of things that are so beautiful and we want them for ourselves, but not all of us can afford it. Not everybody can afford it. I'm not going to put a price when I say planning a wedding on a budget, so I won't put a cost to it, because a budget is different for everybody. Budget wedding for me will be different from budget wedding for the next person, but you know what you can afford, you know what budget wedding is for you. So if you're planning your wedding on a budget, then I have 6 tips for you that you can use. So I'm going to be looking down at this because this is where I have the blog post. I have a blog post here, so I'm going to use the post to make this video. So the first tip is, let the bride and groom sit down and discuss the budget. So this is it. Most times what we've noticed, or what I have noticed when planning, is when people call me to tell me, oh, I want to plan my wedding, what's the cost, what do you charge? And then I ask them, what's your budget? Most of them, they've not sat down to decide the budget. And if you don't know what your budget is to plan your wedding, you can't really do anything. You can't stick with a plan, because you just keep going back and forth and back and forth, and at the end of the day there's a problem on our hands. So I feel like the bride and the groom, before they start doing anything, they both need to sit down and decide on the amount of money they want to spend on the wedding. You don't want to plan your wedding, have your wedding, then after the wedding you start owing people, maybe your vendors or your friends and all, or you finish paying everything and then you get into your home, because after the wedding you still go home and live your real life, and then you find out you can't pay some bills because you've spent all the money that you had, that you saved up on your wedding. I feel like you should budget a particular amount on the wedding, so you know that no matter what you want to do, you stick within the figure. Not what is coming from family or what's coming from friends, what's coming from both of you. What can you afford to spend on your wedding? The bride and the groom the husband and wife need to sit down and discuss the budget before they start to plan. That's my opinion. That's step 1. So step 2, decide on the kind of wedding you want. That's important. After you've decided on a budget, the next thing you need to do is, what kind of wedding do we want to have? I feel like this is another very important step, because if you say, okay, I want a wedding in January, I want a wedding in July, December, or whatever, you should be able to know that your budget too affects it, because there are peak periods during the year when prices of things will go up because it's wedding period. So because it's wedding period, vendors tend to charge more. Costs of wedding accessories, dresses and all that tend to go up. But other periods that are quieter and they're not really wedding peak periods, you can get things cheaper and all that. And then another thing is, if you want, say, a big wedding with 5,000 people or 2,000 people, 1,000 people, if you want something with 500, 200, 100 people, then you should be able to decide it now, what kind of wedding you want. And if you also want maybe strictly by invitation, or you want indoor wedding, outdoor wedding, all those kind of details, you need to decide on it. If you want maybe a themed wedding, Winter Wonderland for example, or Gatsby, or I don't know, flower garden kind of wedding, you know, you have to figure it out. And this is where the checklist begins to come into play. Because if you start to think, what kind of wedding do I want? And you start to write down the things that you want for your wedding. Usually I tell some people, not everybody, some people already know what they want. It's not difficult for them to prepare a checklist. But I tell some of my brides, if you can't seem to figure it out, then write everything in order of what you don't want. You start from what you don't want. When you begin to list down the things that you don't want, you begin to find out that, okay, these are the things that I actually want. So that way, your checklist will begin to fall into place. And usually, since you've already prepared a budget, when you want to pick a venue, maybe you're deciding on, okay, what kind of wedding do I want? I want an outdoor wedding. I want to use a particular place, and that place you have an idea of what the price might be, and you feel like you start to think, oh, this place might be too expensive for my budget, or I want it to fit 2,000 people, I want a big wedding. And then you think about your budget you already discussed before, and you're like, no, 2,000 people, it might cost me so much to feed them. Or you can now say, okay, no, since I can't feed 2,000 people on this budget, let me just reduce it a little and see what it will cost me. And then after you've listed all those things down, oh, I want strictly by invitation, so I have to print invitation cards. I want garden wedding or indoor wedding. Okay, so you can pick like 3 venues, you know, in your head that you don't have to be sure at this point. You pick the venue, you pick let me see what else, I'm sorry, so what else I have on the list. Okay, you decide if you want to do traditional wedding, court wedding, or white wedding. If you want to do 1, 2, or all of it, you decide, and then you know how much you can plan to spend on each of them through your budget. And then you also have to think about your clothing. What kind of dress you want to wear for your wedding? What will the groom be wearing? As little as your shoes, your accessories, your earrings, you need to plan for everything. Put it on your checklist so that everything will be organized. That is tip 2. So the next tip is break down your budget. Very important. After you've discussed and decided on your budget, the next thing, you prepare your checklist, and then the third thing, you break down that budget based on the checklist you prepared in tip 2. So if for venue you have an amount in mind, say venue 1 million, or venue 500k, or venue 100k, it depends on you. You just write it there. If you're not sure what you think venue might be for, maybe you wrote down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 venues that you like, you can put what you think the amount for those venues would be. So you put it there. For the dress you want, you put a budget idea, cost idea. You think your dress might cost, you put it there. If you're doing a reception dress, your groom's outfits, your caterer, what you think the catering might cost you, what you think drinks will cost you, what you think hostesses will cost you, what you think decoration will cost you. You get what I mean. So after you've broken down the kind of wedding you want, and that has helped you to make a checklist, you begin to put prices on all the things you have on the checklist. I have a checklist. I would put a link to it just so you can see what I mean. I'll put a link under this video. So after breaking down your budget, and yes, something else, there are a lot of budget apps that you can download. I will suggest put some links underneath this video so you can use it. Usually what those apps do is they just have a blank list for you. So as you're preparing your checklist, some of them you begin to enter the things yourself. Some of them they already have some details of your checklist entered there for you, so you can add, or you can just put the prices, and then it breaks down your budget for you. And what this does is, as you begin to go maybe beyond your budget, you start to see that you can cut back on some things by yourself. If, for example, let's say budget wedding, I've done a wedding for 200k before. So let's just say, okay, that's what we are doing. Budget wedding, 200k, there were a lot of things out. So let's say, I didn't want to put a figure, but let's just, while planning this budget, let's say you have $1 million for your wedding, and then you put an amount for food, you put an amount for venue, you put an amount for drinks, you put an amount for your dress, put an amount like that, and you begin to see that you've put in everything, and then you now have 1.2 million or 1.3 million. It will naturally make you go back and check out your list again, and then you begin to cut back on your own, because you know that this is what you have budgeted. You are going beyond it, so you begin to remove some excesses on your own. It just puts you in place naturally. So that's why a budget checklist and budget breakdown is good for you. So the next step, the fourth step, is discuss the number of guests on your list, or discuss your guest list with those people you want to give that concession to, like maybe your mom, your dad, your family members, brothers and sisters and all. It's very important, because while you're planning your wedding, they are also thinking, oh, my daughter is getting married, my son is getting married, my sister is getting married, my brother is getting married, and they have plans to invite some of their friends. So if you say, okay, you're planning for 200 people, how many people have you made provision for that will be your guests? How many will be for your family? You understand? And even your friends, if you're going to do it that way. Because there's one bride that I had, funny story, she came back to me crying, like almost in tears. She wasn't crying, she was almost in tears, and I asked her, what's going on? She said, oh, I'm not doing it again, I'm so angry, my mom has taken over my wedding, she's behaving like it's her wedding, this is my wedding, it's not my mom's wedding. I'm like, what happened? Calm down. And she said she discussed her guest list with her mom, and her mom told her that she's cutting her off from her wedding. Why is she cutting her off? That she's angry with her. How can she come and say, I think she was doing, is it 400 or 300 people, I don't remember clearly, and her mom said, my friends I want to invite, Seth, they are more than that, your 300 or 200 people, because I'm inviting women of virtue, I'm inviting this group, I'm inviting sisters of this church, friends, fellowship, you know, all that. So she started to try to make her mom do what she wanted, like work with her budget. And then it turned into something else, because at the end of the day, she found out that she had decided she wanted 200 guests from her and her husband. And then she was thinking, okay, between her mom, her dad, her brothers and her sisters, they can have the other 100 or 200, I can't remember. So what we did was damage control. Both of us, we thought about it and we said, okay, go back to your mom, explain to her why you came up with this figure. You can take your budget breakdown to her and tell her, this is the amount that my fiancé and I discussed and we can afford to spend on the wedding. And it's based on this amount that we came up with this number of guests. It's not like I'm trying to cut you out, or I don't want you to invite your friends. No, why would I want that? You know, so she went back humble and spoke to her mom, explained to her, this is our budget, we don't want to go beyond, so that after the wedding we won't start stressing or start owing anybody. Her mom understood, and her mom was like, okay, you know what you do? Give me that budget that you have, give me your guest list. So tell me the number of people that you made provision for me. Then whatever number I add to that is extra out of your budget, I will add to it. But her mom's condition was she had to see the caterer, she has to see the decorator, she has to see the people involved, the drinks. Of course, she would have seen most of the vendors anyway, but she specifically asked to see them, taste the food and all, which is normal. But at the end of the day, there was peace. She paid for, you know, whatever excess or extra that she accrued, and then she was the one that even talked to my bride's dad, you understand. So he too kind of did the same. So at the end of the day, got a bigger budget, bigger venue, bigger everything based on planning, let me put it that way. But it doesn't always work like that for everybody. If you plan, you do everything, and then you haven't gone to talk to your people, at the end of the day it might affect your plan. So it's better to tell them early enough that this is my budget, this is what I'm looking at. How many people do you plan to invite? But one thing, don't let anybody pressure you. It's your wedding. So at the end of the day, it's still your day. Try to, as much as possible, do it the way you want. If it's a small wedding you can afford, don't let other people's guests or other people's preferences affect what you want, and then you start putting yourself under pressure to please somebody else. Don't do it. If anybody wants to, if you can spend 500k, that's your budget, is your wedding, then do something small. Do just dinner with your friends, court, whatever. Any other person, family or not, I don't mean to be, you know, but if they want something bigger, then they should pay for it. That's how I see it. Bottom line is, while you're planning your guest list, as much as possible, involve those who you know would affect the guest list. Tip number 5, don't expect extra. You have to bear it in mind that if you're planning a wedding on a budget, you can't have all those extra things that you want to have. Like if, for example, you're the kind of person who likes you want cocktails, mocktails, you want an after party, that's after serving the regular drinks and food for the party, you want an after party with cocktails, mocktails, small chops, isewu and nkwobi and pepper soup and all that, and your budget is 1 million naira and you are feeding 2,000 people, it won't work, because all these things, they cost money. What I'm saying in summary is, don't expect all the extras. You can cut down on all those extra stuff, and you can be your own kind of fabulous. If it's your dress that you want to be banging, make it banging. Your pictures will look hot, your makeup will be nice, but you cut down on decor, cut down on the number of people. You pick a smaller, more appropriate venue. And also location matters. So that's what I've noticed in Nigeria. If you're getting married in Lagos, Abuja, there are still some places that you can use that the cost of venue, cost of vendors, cost of everything will be cheaper. But when you want to stay in the peak areas, the main, areas, and you know that your budget is thin, it's not going to work. So just pick where it's good for you. At the end of the day, it's the pictures and the videos that you will remember. So make sure you're not owing because you want to do extra. Cut down, and then you can plan your wedding on a budget. There are a lot of things you can even do by yourself, or you ask friends and family to help you with. Maybe you know someone who bakes, you know someone who cooks, you know when family and friends pitch in like that, then your budget also, it can help to balance it. That's all I'm saying. So the final 6th tip, last but not least, assign a wedding coordinator. Not necessarily pay one. If you could, then pay one, because there are a lot of wedding planners that do D-Day coordination package. They are way cheaper than the full wedding planning service. But a lot of people don't know this. They just hear, oh, wedding planners is expensive, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not it. And the reason I say assign a coordinator is, after you've done all the planning yourself, because your wedding on a budget, you can afford full service wedding planner, then a week to the wedding and the day of the wedding, you should rest. You should rest. You might start having breakouts, or you might start feeling stressed on the day of your wedding, because you're the one who planned, you're the one who's coordinating. So you're thinking, oh, this person hasn't eaten. Or you don't need to stress. You don't need somebody coming to your ear to whisper, and then you see the face of the bride just change, and she can't enjoy her wedding again. Or they will bring phone to the groom, take somebody's, like, if you have a wedding coordinator that knows what to do, all those things won't happen. You will just raise your leg, dance, sit down, stretch, eat and everything, and you will enjoy your day. If you get a family friend, a friend of yours, personal friend or relative to coordinate for you, then it's still cost effective, because you don't have to pay them for it. It's just, you can tell them to do it for you as a wedding present or something. And it's usually nice if you give them a list of what you want them to do, because they are not professional wedding planners. Then, like, a week to the wedding, be specific. Tell them what you want them to coordinate throughout the week. You've arranged all the vendors, you've planned everything. So just make sure that they coordinate for you. Make sure everyone is in place, the call goes up on time, your dance floor is in place, your food and drinks are there on time, your makeup artist, photographer, everybody, videographer, everybody's working in tune. Make sure they pack food for you on the day of the wedding, because usually bride and groom, they are really very hungry at the end and everybody forgets about them. So what coordinators or wedding planners do is they speak with the caterers or do it on their own, get something aside for the bride and groom so they can have something to eat after the entire thing. But bottom line is, don't coordinate your wedding on the day of your wedding, on the week of your wedding. During the week of the wedding, you need to rest, do your hair, do your nails, do makeup testing, pre-wedding makeup test and all that. I don't see why you should now start running around with vendors or wedding preparations or wedding. Assign someone to do it. It will really help you a lot. I hope that with these tips I've been able to answer a few questions people might have regarding wedding planning on the budget. And thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you, and if you have any comments or any additional tips or maybe any questions you have that you want me to answer, I would like for you to leave them in the comment section below or send me an email, and I'll do my best to do a bit of research and then answer your questions for you. If you just got engaged, you're planning a wedding, or you've been engaged since and you're planning the wedding now, or you're hoping to be engaged and preparing to plan your wedding, congratulations and have fun.